So, guys, the major agenda for today's discussion is to make you understand that why are you currently learning the knowledge, why are you planning to, learn the knowledge of AWS, and how is that this knowledge of AWS would be helpful for your career. So, the quick thing is, whenever I have sessions, whenever I have demos, the first question that I want to understand. Guys, there is a lot of background noise. I would request everyone kindly be on mute for some time. Right after the session, please requesting everyone to be on mute. Okay, thank you for that. Okay, so the first question is like why is that? Are you why? What is the plan that? What is that you are planning to learn cloud? So the responses that I do get are someone have giving an insight saying that cloud is the latest technology where people are interested to learn. Someone says that one of their company is planning to move on to the cloud. Someone says that he doesn't have an exact reason that why should be learning cloud, but he is planning to learn the cloud. So different responses from different people whenever they want to start learning for the cloud. But the main concern comes out to is why is that you are planning to learn the cloud. That means there should be a reason that when you want to learn the knowledge of cloud, there should be a reason for yourself asking that why are you planning to learn for yourself. So guys, the justification is by end of this demo, I should be able to justify you that there should be a reason that why is that you planning to learn the cloud. If we can justify that, then the right go. Now, let's start understanding things little bit of from the technical perspective. So, where did all started? It started from the concept of data center operations. I hope you guys must be aware what is basically a data center. A data center consists of a premises or a location in your corporate organizations, where in which you will see the entire infrastructure is up and running, where you will see the large set of servers. So to see that, one side will see a location where we have to have the data center operations, where it is monitored by the security surveillance. They would be needing power to run it. They would be needing the servers. Large set of direct and indirectly connected resources. Which are up and running. Like your cooling, your people are responsible for downtimes. So if you guys can see, these are the visible components that are applicable for running your data center. But for a IT company, things are fine because it's their core service, so they need to have the data centers up and running. But if you consider a non-IT company, what does impact does it have? Is it it's not their core business, but still they have to manage it. No, the companies normally look on the concept of return on investments. So under these return on investments, what is that they do is they try to understand what is that they would be getting once they start spending their time and resources, which is not their core business, like the data center operations. The challenge that was like they were unable to calculate what was the return on investment because they have to spend time in managing it, monitoring it, and making it up and running. So they wanted to look out for an alternate solution, and the alternate solution that they want is they want to outsource these data center operations to a service provider who can manage these data centers on behalf of them, and they can run their applications on them. That is like they want to run their applications, like they want to do the computing for their applications on someone else provide, like some in something other premises. So that is where the concept of cloud computing has come into picture. So what is this cloud computing? Basically, your infrastructure will be hosted in someone else premises, like your service provider's premises, and there in which you would be computing your applications inside the cloud. So that is right. You are running your applications not in your premises but in the service provider premises, and you're getting billed for that. So in the market, guys, we have three top vendors who are currently ruling the market. One is the Amazon, that is the AWS cloud. We have from Microsoft, the Azure, and we have Google Cloud from Google Cloud itself. So, having learned the necessity of why a cloud is required, the next thing is we would be understanding the model of how does the cloud work. Cloud works on a concept called pay as you go model. Now, pay as you go model is very simple to understand. It's like your utility bill. So, whenever you do a consumption with regards to the resources that you have, AWS starts to give you a saying that, hey, you have been consuming my resources like something like T2.nano. It's basically a consumption that you have done for my Linux instance. Basically, guys, T2.nano is the smallest size of infra where you can run your application. Says that if you run this machine for a period of 1 hour, this is the amount of dollars that you need to spend. So likewise, whatever the resources that you use from your cloud service provider, accordingly you will get the same. So it runs on this model. So these were the benefits, guys. The businesses were able to get, like, there was no long contract. It was easier to implement, and the nature of the instances were highly elastic that you can spin up and spin down. There can you can increase the size, you can decrease the size, and it also there is like no upfront cost because of these driving benefits. What does the company want is they want many businesses are planning to shift onto the cloud. That is where you'll see a lot of opportunities upcoming for yourself. That is, apart from the knowledge of what is that you are currently into. Let's say you are working as a developer, you need to have knowledge of any cloud service provider, whether it might be today AWS cloud, tomorrow Azure, tomorrow Google cloud. So if you are a admin by nature, then it is mandatory that you need to have a cloud knowledge. If you are basically an architect, it is mandatory that you have. So in any vertical, if you go, it is required that you need to have the basics of any cloud service provider, especially AWS cloud, because you'll see many of the 90% of the Fortune companies are planning on AWS cloud. You'll see the ratio of Azure be something around 10%, but it is very much required that you need to have enough insights onto any cloud service. Yes, it is not mandatory that only you're getting a job on AWS. It is like this. Whatever the core skill set that you have, let's say if you are a Java developer, then you need to have insights about AWS. If you are a sysops admin, basically if you are an administrator, whichever the technology that you are in, if tomorrow company plans to move on to the cloud, it is required that you need to have a knowledge on it. So guys, these are the driving benefits because of the businesses which have planned to move on to cloud. Now, having learned this, the next thing is how does the concept of AWS work? AWS work through its partners. There are two set of partners here. One, your consulting and technology partners. Consulting partners drive the benefits or the businesses for moving your customers onto the AWS cloud. They'll give you the like basically, if you work for a consulting partner, you would be helping or driving the customers, giving the understanding that why should a customer X should go from on-premises to a cloud. What are the benefits of it? How much cost that he can save? What are the benefit? What is the long-term plan? How is that he should need to go? This is what a consulting partner will do. Whereas a technology partners, guys, this is what you need to have the insights, the stack of technology concepts. Like you will be majorly part of deployments. So how is that you will be designing the architecture, you will be deploying those machines, or you will be deploying into the infrastructure. This is basically the technology partners would be doing. Next, after that, having learned about how does AWS work, now this is the time that what is that you should be learning for yourself. Because AWS is a platform, so it can be a very good platform for the developers, it can be a very good platform for administrators and solution architects. So now this is the time for you to understand what is that you should be learning in this cloud. So guys, the good thing is you need not to learn a newer technology. You need not to start a new programming language. It's all about, it's a service provider. You just need to create an account for AWS, and then you will start getting access to this AWS services on the subscription, and then you start to work around onto that. So in order to understand what is that you should be learning cloud, let me give a little more insight what are the job roles that you'll be playing under the AWS. So, AWS platform can be broadly classified based upon the job descriptions. Like you can work as a solution architect, you can work as a developer, and you can work as a SysOps admin. So, in terms of solution architect to developer to SysOps admin, what job roles, what is the nature of a job that a solution architect do to a developer and a SysOps admin? Yes, one thing I want to tell you in practice that in real time scenarios, if you are working, if you are given a job as a solution architect, you need to play even the role of a developer to a SysOps admin because this is what is the industry is looking out from an individual. It doesn't mean that if you are an architect by role, you doesn't need to deploy or you need to play a role of admin. It is very hard for any company to start distinguish, but broadly in terms of what AWS believes that what type of jobs role you can play, this is that. But in real time workaround, like if you start working for an organization, a developer will play a role of an architect, a sysops admin will play a role of an architect. So it's a kind of mixture role that you would be seeing in. Now, let's understand what more a solution architect will do. That is, guys, this is a perspective. It doesn't mean that is the same thing which I've highlighted. It doesn't mean that solution architect is only allowed to do this. It means that these are the broader job responsibilities. That this is something which is expected that a solution architect will do. Now, who exactly are solution architects? Okay. Solution architects are guys those basically have a facing insights to the customer. Like he would be majorly understanding the customer topology, how exactly his customer application is widespread across, in terms of what addition more that he can add in terms of like infrastructure. Let's say if the company is planning to move on to the cloud, what are their current topology in terms of the infra on on the on-premises environment, and how is that he would be moving on to the AWS cloud? What are the migration steps that he would be following? What are the migration challenges that they might face once they start deploying onto the cloud? What is the best optimization technology that they can follow? What is the fault tolerant solutions that they can offer? What are the AWS services that he can implement? So these kind of scenario understanding of the journey from on-premises to AWS cloud is something a solution architect will do. He'll understand the feasibility of moving the application point from on-premises to cloud. What are the drawbacks should be able to attend? What is the cost incur? And also, he should be able to be part of managing a large-scale, deployments because companies sometimes they move from small footprints like their applications, something which is related to the HRMS, to large-scale SAP environments to the cloud. So, guys, as a solution architect, you should be knowing what are the drawbacks to moving on premises to cloud, what are the benefits that a customer will get in terms of his resources, in terms of his cost, what is the cost saving that he'll have. So as a solution architect you need to play the role. At the same time you need to have complete insight about various other domains, like what is a storage domain that it can offer, what is a networking domain, what a database is. So because you need to design a solution, it doesn't mean if you're designing a solution you're only confined to one single. No, you need to verify something on the storage part, networking part, databases parts, all put together. So basically, in nutshell, what is a solution architect? A guy who manages the migration of the customers from on-premises to cloud, or basically they will be helping the customers to move on to the AWS cloud, whichever their newer application is. So having learned that, the next step is to learn about developers. So guys, who are those developers? The good thing is, guys, you don't need to learn any newer programming language. The thing is, things go like this. If you are a developer, take an example of a Java developer. A Java developer is now expected to have the knowledge of AWS as well. Now, how it is useful? Take up, for example, I am running an application. The nature of the application is to crop the images that you are uploading. That whenever a user uploads an image into his application, it needs to get cropped and needs to send for the next processing. This is an example. So in this case, a developer has to use something called storage service from AWS. Now, what is storage service? This is where your images get uploaded. For now, I'll start using for storage for bucket. So you'll start uploading into storage buckets. What the user will do, the application will do is application will fetch the images, crop the images, and put it in another storage bucket. Now here you need to understand that your application is written in Java, and your application at the same time your AWS storage available. So your application has to interact with your AWS storage programmatically. That means your application should go and fetch an image from the bucket. It needs to go and put it in the bucket. It needs to crop it. So guys, what is that you are trying to do here? You are making sure your application can programmatically interact with the AWS services. So it is not only applies to storage. It may be tomorrow. It might be regards to the networking component. Tomorrow it might be the database service. So as an overall, you need to have an insights of running of your application on AWS, how exactly your AWS services can interact with the other services. This is something which is expected from your side. So you need so tomorrow you might be working on Java, tomorrow you might be working on PHP, tomorrow you might be working on Perl, whichever the programming language, whichever the structure that you want to work, whichever the PL that you want to work, you are allowed to have and bottom line knowledge about the AWS infra and how AWS services are being working around so that you can call them automatically. So, having learned this, guys, this is an example I've highlighted here. Now, what I want you to understand is what other languages does AWS support. So, I have listed out what are this language supported AWS provide in the form of SDKs, right from Java to .NET to Python. So, guys, if you are a .NET developer, you should be able to know how to deploy a .NET based application onto AWS services on AWS cloud and how to allow the interaction to happen. If you are a PHP, the same thing applies. Now, since we have started to discuss about the application deployment, now there comes another insights that nowadays things have started to pick up over the concept called DevOps. AWS Cloud play a very important role in DevOps, guys. Now, what is DevOps? DevOps basically it's a process, but it's not a technology. Now, to understand a little bit more what is basically DevOps. Now consider the scenario of your environments with regards to production application ones. Like we have development environment, testing environment, and prod environment, where prod is basically production environment. Now your application starts to have a life cycle from the development environment to your QA environment for testing, then it moves on to prod environment. Now, I want to have a pipeline that can connect my QA environment to production and my development environment to QA so that I need not to have something like from manual movement from my development environment to QA environment to prod environment. Now, what would happen is as soon as the developer start to make some changes into his code and push it, now things would happen automatically that his build will happen. Then after the build is successful, it will go and deploy into the development environment, and the development environment is fine, takes a copy and starts to move into product into testing environment so the testing team can test it, and then if the testing team approves then it will be passed into your production environment. So this type of continuous integration, continuous pipelines, continuous delivery, that forms the basis for your DevOps. Now, what is that we would be doing under the AWS DevOps? Here, I'll show you what are the services of AWS that will allow us to carry out the DevOps process. Like we'll be using the tools like code commit where your application code will be placed, deployed for your continuous deployment, code build, we will be doing continuous build of the application, and then we'll be doing something called the continuous integration using code pipelines. So this is what using these services I'll be able to show you how does the process of DevOps can be carried on AWS. And moreover, that will also be bringing up the concept of containerization for the topics. And now, the next important thing is for those guys who are coming to the development, having learned about architects to developer, this is something which regards to the solution SysOps admin.
ఆయన
Requesting,
ఇచ్చింది అట్లుందంటే
requesting guys. Yes.
So hello all, could you please go on to the mute?
ఏంది
So, SysOps admin guys, who are those SysOps admin guys? The real-time consultants. Basically, let's take the general admins. Who are those admins? Basically, those guys who are responsible for managing the infra, monitoring the infra. Guys, instead of going through all this, what I'll want to show you highlight about the image here because this is something which is a summary of all this. Now, AWS works on a principle says that AWS is responsible for managing the infra at their level and the other applications like the applications that you want to run. That is something which AWS will start taking will is not responsible for this. Like you're running your application, the networking of it, the inventory management of it, the data security for your application, the control access control to your application is something you have to design, you have to architect it. So your solution architect will do. Your application engineer will work with application design, allowing an interaction with services. So SysOps admin guy is basically responsible for managing the entire stack. They'll be monitoring this stack. They'll be managing the stack. They'll manage like how many resources are created, how many resources have been deleted, did the resources got optimally utilized. If there is some issue with that instance, he will start troubleshooting it. So SysOps admin guy is majorly responsible for monitoring and for management, and they are also in nearby future. Even if you are a developer or even if you are a SysOps admin, then you will be termed as a DevOps engineer. This is the guideline that AWS wants you to become as a DevOps engineer, but AWS DevOps engineer. Now, guys, the most important thing is for you to understand is the certifications. Though certifications play a very important role in terms of your knowledge specifications because AWS prefers to hire or the partner communities prefer to hire those people who are AWS certified, who are certified by AWS. Now, under the certification path, we have two levels of certifications, one the associate and the professional. And with regards to the job, we have the same, the resolution architect, we have a developer, we have a SysOps admin. Now guys, if you get an clearance at the associate level, at solution architect, then you are allowed, then you will become a solution architect professional. This is the stepping the basically this is the first step that you should get yourself certified at the associate level, then you are allowed to sit for your professional. Without clearing this, you will not be able to go for the next level. Same thing does apply developer associate or sysops admin. You can take either of these exams, and the end result is that for your professional you can become as a DevOps engineer. So, guys, my only assurance is that with the help of associate level exams, you can even find better opportunities because professional exams are those exams that are very tough to crack. So, I would request everyone to target your associate level, primary target, and then target your professional. But once you're on job, you will be getting hands-on experience. Then you can target your professional level. Now, before we end up, just I would like to add a positive word here, that is like try to understand that our 80% of the results are getting generated by the 20% of it. I am aware that most of you guys are already 80% of the guys are aware of it, but how is that this is applicable in our lives? So the most important thing is whatever that you're targeting is you need not to target 100% of knowledge on any insights because the knowledge of AWS cloud or any other technology is keep on updating. It's dynamic in nature because if you learn something today, it might not be applicable for tomorrow. So guys, you have to keep on updating. But the one thing that I want you to understand is 20% of that something which is core won't change. They won't change the core. What is that core? This is what is your training is all about. So we'll be targeting something on the core services of AWS, which are the very much required, that are nothing but your building blocks. These building blocks, if you have your foundation stronger on these building blocks, I can guarantee you that your learning on cloud can be very much sure shot, and you'll be able to understand more and more insights. That is, as a nutshell, AWS has something building blocks like some services like compute, storage, databases, networking. These become the 20% of the knowledge of the AWS cloud. Guys, try to get an expertise on this 20%. And I'll guarantee you that with this 20% of knowledge, I'm you an assurance that 80% of your skill sets can be improved with this 20% of knowledge. Now, having said this, next thing is, guys, I'll just ignore this for a while. Just wanted to give an insight saying that we would be running on the online mode. Just wanted to give the timing assurance insight about the training. For those guys from the Indian, my timing is from 6:30 a.m. to 7, and from EST timing is 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. EST, and the duration of the course is going to be about 60 minutes, and course duration is about 35 hours. And the batch just started, is like, we have just started it. With regards to the uh, joining details, everything will be taken care by your team. And with regards to the expectations, that please give your confirmation to your respective team members. So I'll just need to skip this. About me, guys, I'm Sharad Rajalla here. I have experience in terms of deployment with regards to AWS. I'm a certified solution architect, associate, and professional level, and I'm working will be the largest technology stack provider in AWS in Bangalore. And I have total years in terms of deploying many implementations on premises to cloud. And my passion is to drive you guys, people like you, to get an insight what is about or the technology migrations. So, guys, I'm done from my side. And if you have any queries, guys, to be discussed, I'm open for your discussion. I'm open for your questions. So I hand over the ball to you guys. So I'm ready for the questions. Yeah. Any queries, guys, with regards to the presentation that we had? Okay, I have a dropout from in the form of chat from Pawan. Is asking me, do you provide the course videos? Very good question. So, guys, the thing goes like this: whenever I run a presentation, whenever I run a recording, or whenever I have a session, primary target is to record that session. So the recording would happen, and that recording would be, uploaded into the drive. So based upon the access level, you would be given access to those videos. But it primarily deals with what type of confirmation that you are giving. So team from Eastern to take care of it. Yeah. Any other question apart from the inventory? Apart from, okay, Ishwar is asking a question that how does AWS will help SAP, ABAP, and be developer. Okay. Now, what is that I want to insight is, Ishwar, let me give an assurance that your knowledge will always be a priority. Like, if you are from SAP background, that is something which is always is the top priority. But something is like, what is you have to understand is tomorrow if your company or if your organization, because we also deal with large set of customers who are planning to deploy SAP on AWS. So if you have to understand that if your organization is planning to move on to AWS cloud, then you are required to have the knowledge. Otherwise, it will become a blocker for you. Now, how is that it will help you in this sense? Because your application have to programmatically interact, because you need to make sure that how is that application would be interacting with all the services like networking uh, services, database services, pipeline. If you're targeting your DevOps pipeline, this is something which will be applicable issue in terms if your company is smaller. But if you want to really look out for opportunities and something on the AWS itself, there are a plethora of opportunities. There are a number of opportunities, especially targeting towards AWS and DevOps. That is AWS, especially in carrying out your DevOps on it. So, as a nutshell, it is recommended that you have the knowledge of cloud, because there will be a day, guys, that there will be a day that you have to make sure that the knowledge of cloud is in line with your current knowledge. That means tomorrow it will become like Java. That even you do not have any skill set, but if you have a knowledge of Java, any knowledge of any programming language, that should be fine. So there will be a day that it will become something like a mandatory skill set. So why is that we are waiting for the time to happen? It is better that you get start acknowledging yourself and moving up along with this. Because that is the primary target of it. And regards to every other queries, guys, in terms of the knowledge. So guys, this knowledge is, once again, I want to let you know that it is dynamic in nature. That is dynamic. I believe this because today you might learning technology of AWS cloud itself. That service might be available by today or might not be available by today. But the thing is, you are required to have that knowledge because that service or that technology might be useful for today, not for tomorrow. And the very, very good thing is, guys, AWS itself is a platform. So you have services which are related to big data. Once again, let me clearly articulate that. It's a platform to run your big data application. It's not something which is related to big data. Like if I want to run a big data application on AWS cloud, yes, I can run with EMR. If I want to run a data warehouse service, I can run with Redshift. If I want to run something which is regards to machine learning, AWS offers machine learning platform. Guys, understand the difference from technology to platform running the technology. It's like I can I can I can I can run my applications with regards to big data. That means if I have to run, I'll be able to get platform like machines to run my big data. But it doesn't mean that you will get something on the big data knowledge. That is different. This is only a platform. So guys, have an assurance for that. So there will be a day that many services will be offered on AWS. That is the reason you need to have the knowledge of cloud. You may run your SAP application, you may run your big data application, you may run your mobile applications. So it's a platform. So guys, if you understand correctly, it's a platform, then it will be easier for you to pick it up. If you understand it as a technology, then you will be sticking around to this technology. You can't come out of it. So try to understand what is a platform and what is a technology. Then it will be easier for you to go ahead. Any more questions, guys? And coming up to, there was a question.
Uh,
They were asking.
sure.
Uh, yeah, please go ahead.
So what would be the approach of the course? Is it gonna be like a hands-on course, or your how? What's gonna be the approach, or how are you gonna take it from here?
So may I know whom exactly I'm speaking? Is it Raki or Pawan?
It's Pawan.
Pawan. Hey, Pawan. The course inside is gonna be like this. Like the first initial, the first session's gonna be little bit of theoretical insights across 1 or 2 days where we will be targeting something on the basics. And right after that, something which will be starting is on to the console part, where you will be given to create an account for yourself, AWS account. Once your accounts get created, it's going to be on the live scenarios. I'll be giving an insights of how to think, and this will be live demos. So there is nothing that I'll be doing on the theoretical part. Theoretical part goes like this: out of the 60-minute session, first 10 minutes, for about 10 minutes, you'll be getting input about what is that service, background about that service, then followed by the demonstration of that service. That would be running about for 50 to 45 to 50 minutes odd.
Okay, and an additional question here. So, how is the hands-on thing gonna work? Are you gonna give us a box where you give us the login details of an AWS box, or we create, as you mentioned earlier, that we create our own accounts on the cloud, right? So we create our own boxes, or how the approach is gonna be working for the hands-on thing.
Okay, so guys, good question. You need to create an account for AWS. The creation of account is something which is a free tier account that is going to be running for about 12 months. Right? In this account, you would be given certain privileges. Basically, you are the root account for this user. You get all the privileges, but there will be limitations. Like you'll be given 5 GB of storage. You'll be given 750 hours of Linux box, 750 years. So it's based upon the limits that will be given. And these are about from every month. So after a month, you need to, let's say you have an application that you wanted to run 750 hours. So you have consumed your 750 hours, then that 751 hour, that extra 1 hour, you'll be charged for it. So, nutshell is you have to create an account for yourself. You have to run all the operations inside your account. But since you are falling under the free tier account, this I would say is more than enough for you to work around. But if you're crossing the limits of free tier account, then the charges would apply for that. So even don't worry about it. I'll be giving you some insights where you can predict what could be the monthly billing happen. That's all from my side.
Yeah, that makes sense. And also, like, would you be giving out some exercises out during the class or every day end of the activities, like I mean, like some lab work or something like that, or it's predominantly going to be like teach, what you teach in the class, and then we try to do it offline and come back with questions. So how is the approach going to be on that front?
Hey, this is little bit tricky to answer right at this moment. What I would suggest is, yes, things would be happening like this, but we would be giving a complete insight about the training. At the same time, scenario, let's say the entire architecture services will be broken up into smaller units, then we'll be given a demonstration about it, followed by a task involving in it. But it's not at this moment I'll be able to give a complete insight about it. But definitely once you start joining the sessions, you'll be getting a clarity. Let's not comment on that. Fair?
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Guys, any more questions apart from this? Any questions, guys? So if there are no questions to be discussed, I'm handing over the call to Raju on
Yeah. How do I
Yeah.
how do I access the recorded version of this?
I'll do is, guys.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to know how to access the recorded version of this conversation. This what we had just now. That's all.
Okay. May I know whom exactly I'm speaking because I'm unable to find it out. Who is that out of your
Stan. I closed my session. Stan Venkat.
stand? Okay. Things would happen like this. Okay. What I'll do is I'll hand over the recordings. I'll be uploading the recordings and you'll be given an access to the recording. We'll be taking care of it. That is the reason we would request everyone to mention your name and as well as your email IDs along with uh, you know that
Oh, on the session. On the session.
no, the inventory team will be taking care of it. They'll get back to you.
Okay, on the same WhatsApp group, right?
Yeah, they will be taking care of it. I'll not be able to comment on that. The inventory team, Maruti or Raju will take care of this. You can
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
right. Any question?
And
Yeah, please go ahead.
answer up one last question. So, what about the course content? I mean, are you going to publish it, or it's the same thing that some of the other people would be taking care of it?
So I didn't get the who is the person that I'm speaking with.
This is Pawan, by the way. Sorry.
Pawan. So you have
I
yeah. I guess Pawan, you have good number of questions, but I'll try to sort it out. Yes, as I mentioned, with regards to inventory for your recordings, your course content, everything will be
okay.
taken care by
Yeah.
inventory team. Handing
Okay. You answered my question. Thank you.
over. So if you are done for the day, guys, I am handing over the call to Maruti, and things would be taken care by then.
Son.
Thank you for joining me. Have a great day ahead, and hope to see you guys to be part of my training platform. Thank you, and have a great day ahead. Thank you.
Uh, yeah, Sharath, this is Raju from DC.